The USS Defiant, Starfleet's first true warship, was designed as a frontline defense against the formidable Borg and the Dominion Alliance. As the prototype of the Defiant-class starship, it was compact, highly efficient, and equipped with the latest advancements in weaponry and defensive systems. Unlike other Starfleet vessels, the Defiant offered minimal comforts, with no accommodations for families or diplomatic missions. True to its purpose, it was a heavily armed, stripped-down warship, designed specifically as a first-strike vehicle for combat deployment. It was unique in the United Federation of Planets in being the only ship equipped with a Romulan cloaking device. The ship boasted numerous technological advancements, but its standout features were its advanced attack and defense systems. These included pulse phaser cannons and torpedo launchers, engineered to minimize the time between the command to fire and the actual launch, making it nearly instantaneous. Similar to other Starfleet vessels, the Defiant was fitted with an auto-destruct system to prevent the ship from falling into enemy hands. During the Dominion War, the Defiant class went into limited production, and these small, maneuverable ships became an essential part of Starfleet operations. The USS Defiant was destroyed in 2375 but was later replaced by the USS Sao Paulo. The design team chose to depart from Starfleet's traditional layout, which positioned the warp nacelles at the ends of twin pylons. Instead, they moved the nacelles much closer to the ship's main body. This change streamlined the Defiant's profile, making it a smaller and more difficult target to hit in combat. The primary bridge was situated at the top, positioned centrally on the ship. To meet its offensive requirements, it was equipped with 4 state-of-the-art pulse phaser cannons and 2 torpedo launchers. The Defiant's outer body was coated with ablative armor hull plating, a top-secret technology. Even Starfleet operations had not heard of it until 2372. Ablative armor provided an extra layer of defense against enemy fire if the shields failed. The Defiant-class escort measures 170 meters, 560 feet in length, and 134 meters or 440 feet in width, with a maximum speed of warp 9.98. It is fitted with plasma vents to allow for the rapid ejection of warp plasma during emergencies. There are a total of 8 vents, with 4 located on each warp nacelle. These vents are positioned on the dorsal side of the hull, alongside the impulse engines. On the dorsal side are the shuttle bay hatch and impulse vents. The main shuttle bay location and operation were unique among Federation starships. Its drop-ship approach to shuttle deployment offered maximum protection to the shuttlecraft during launch. In addition to the sublight shuttle pods, the Defiant also carried the Type 10, warp-capable auxiliary craft, the Chaffee. The Chaffee could accommodate a crew of 4, and it was equipped with both impulse and warp drive systems. The vessel weighed 19.73 metric tons, which was heavier than the average shuttle because of its much larger warp coil assembly. At the front of the ship are the primary deflector array, multiple torpedo launchers, a forward phaser array, several escape pod hatches, and a sensor pallet. During the Dominion War, the Defiant class went into limited production. However, only the Defiant ship was fitted with a cloaking device. Several features make the Defiant class unique in Starfleet. It has the capability to land on planetary surfaces, and its forward section functions as a detachable warhead. The detachable warhead on the Defiant is a design concept that has been met with skepticism, often deemed impractical and unaddressed in the series. For one, removing the warhead would strip the ship of its main deflector, a critical component for navigation, with no suggestion of a secondary system in place. A more plausible theory is that the warhead is an interchangeable module, akin to the Nebula class's mission pod, designed to adapt the ship for specialized tactical operations rather than serving solely as a destructive device. This video is sponsored by Factor, a meal delivery service offering fresh, never frozen, restaurant-quality meals. They deliver nutritious, delicious dishes straight to your door, ready to enjoy any time with no prep, mess, or hassle. I've tried many ready-to-eat meals in my life, and few companies come close to Factor in terms of variety, nutrition, portion size, taste, and presentation. At a time when groceries and fast food are becoming more expensive, restaurants are adding excessive service fees, and delivery feels like a luxury, Factor offers unmatched value and convenience without compromising on quality. Factor cuts down on grocery trips and cooking, so there's more time for my favorite indoor or outdoor activities. In addition, Factor is so flexible that I can easily adjust my order size, enjoy with family and friends, or even skip a week when I have a special event. After trying several meals, I can confidently say that Factor's ready-made meal was prepared in just 2 minutes and tasted fantastic, making it perfect for anyone short on time. Head to factor75.com or click the link below, and use code Halfscreen50 to get 50% off your first Factor box and 20% off your next month of orders. That's code Halfscreen50 at factor75.com to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month of orders. As we examined the interior of the USS Defiant, we noticed that, while it retained much of the design language and features of its predecessors, its purpose was distinct. Built primarily as a warship rather than for exploration and scientific missions, it did not follow the standard Starfleet configuration. Due to the ship's design, limited to just 5 decks but with a wider surface area, many of its spaces were integrated to maximize room for equipment, supplies, and weaponry. This included a forward dorsal tactical scanner, a subspace radio transceiver on the port side, 2 launcher bays, and a countermeasure pod launcher bay. At the vessel's center was the main bridge, typically spanning an entire deck. Though smaller by Starfleet standards, it still accommodated all the stations usually found on larger ships. The commander's chair sat on a slightly elevated platform in the middle of the bridge, surrounded by various display panels providing instant access to critical information. The ship lacked a dedicated conference room, so the crew used a mission ops table on the bridge to plan tactics and strategies. 2 tactical stations controlled the ship's advanced weaponry, cloaking devices, shields, and tractor beam operations. The engineering station monitored and managed all engineering activities on deck. In front of the commander's chair was a combined con and ops station, merging navigation and operations into a single unit. Behind the bridge were the captain's quarters, the ready room, the armory, and the transporter room. Having the captain's quarters and the bridge on the same deck was unusual for a Starfleet vessel. Surrounding the bridge were several officers' quarters and an emergency life support system for Deck 1. Deck 1 was also equipped with 4 escape pods, a classified secured access bay, and RCS thrusters on both the port and starboard sides of the ship. At the aft end of Deck 1 was the upper level of main engineering, along with 2 deuterium storage tanks and the warp plasma conduits running along both sides of the vessel. At the aft end of Deck 2 were the aft RCS thruster and fueling system bay, along with the deuterium tankage and cryogenic cooling systems. The starboard side housed the Broussard collector and battery bay. Also located on Deck 2 were the life support bay, the damage control command and diagnostic engineering stations, the starboard deflector screen, and the sickbay. Medical facilities on the Defiant did not match the sophisticated offensive capabilities that made it such a formidable fighting ship. Initial specifications provided nothing more than a very basic field hospital, which was not equipped to handle a large number of casualties. Adjacent to the sick bay were the science and medical labs. The detachable warhead contained the cockpit and sensor package, along with the antimatter warheads and internal systems bay. Located behind the warhead were 4 escape pods. Deck 2 was equipped with a deflector screen and force field generator, a secondary transporter room, the mess hall, and at its center, the upper-level computer core. The main computer core consists of 138 dedicated modules with 144 isolinear optical storage chips. To maximize protection of its vital computer core, the Defiant's twin stacks were situated dead center on the ship and ran from Deck 2 to 3, adjacent to the main vertical turbolift that connected all 4 decks. As the USS Defiant was primarily designed for combat, the mess hall played a crucial role as the only informal space on the ship. It served as a place for the crew to relax, socialize, and foster a strong sense of camaraderie. At the center of the vessel were the Shuttle Operation Control, Transporter Buffer Compartment, Brig, Main Engineering, Damage Control Locker, and an Impulse Drive Systems. This section also housed the specialized and highly controversial cloaking device. Main Engineering housed all the components necessary to power and propel the ship, channeling the immense power output to every part of the vessel. At the heart of this system stood the warp core, elevated on a dais in the center of the engineering section, spanning all 4 decks. At the very rear of Deck 3 was the aft tactical and targeting sensor array, the cryogenic fluid storage bay, and twin impulse engines located on both the port and starboard sides. Directly below main engineering on Deck 3 were the antimatter storage containers, along with the airlock and landing ramp. Close by was the impulse fusion generator and manifold bay. The majority of the forward and central sections of Deck 3 were occupied by the computer core and cargo storage, which included a dedicated cargo transporter pad. In addition, the shuttle bay allowed shuttles to offload directly into the cargo bay. Surrounding the shuttle bay were the crew quarters and 4 escape pods, enabling the engineering crew to evacuate the vessel quickly. As there was no room for amenities aboard the Defiant, these quarters were basic but efficient. The crew slept in recessed bunk beds, each equipped with a small workstation for monitoring operations. Ahead of the cargo bay was the waste recycling complex, along with the forward tactical and targeting scanner bay. Inside, the detachable warhead contained the impulse fusion reactor, telescoping docking port, and an impulse drive system. Several crew quarters are located within the warhead, which serves as an oversized lifeboat in the event of catastrophic damage to the main starship. The warhead can support up to 30 people for 9 months. Additionally, it can be remotely programmed from the main bridge to separate and intercept a target, containing 36 photon torpedoes on board for defense. Deck 3 was also outfitted with the main replicator systems and a life support compartment. The ship was equipped with 2 forward photon torpedo launch bays, featuring a transfer conveyor system to move both quantum and photon torpedoes, as well as various probes. Mounted on the nacelles were the ionizing beam emitters, the magnetic field generator, and warp coils. The shuttle bay housed parking bays for several Type 18 shuttlecraft. The ship was also equipped with a waste recycling complex. An essential element of the USS Defiant, the extensive corridors and turbolift arteries made for fast travel between important locations on the vessel during intense battles and other emergencies. If power was needed elsewhere, or combat severed a power conduit, crew members could move around the ship using corridors, ladders, and if need be, Jeffries tubes and crawlways. Due to the compact design of the Defiant, Deck 4 had a relatively smaller surface area. The curved port and starboard sides housed both the forward and rear landing legs, enabling the Defiant to land on planetary surfaces. Deck 4 also housed 2 shuttle bays, Shuttle Bay 2 and Shuttle Bay 3, both overseen from a dedicated access and control room. The tankage bay, containing several water tanks, featured an overhead catwalk for the crew to monitor water levels. These water tanks are primarily used for showers and general sanitation purposes, rather than for drinking water. On the front of the warhead housed the deflector generator and the deflector emitter plate. In addition, several antimatter warheads were stored on this platform. The ship holds multiple shuttlecraft, including the Work Bees and the Type 18 shuttlecraft. Located aft of the shuttle bay was the torpedo launcher bay, capable of firing quantum torpedoes, which provided the ship with additional rear protection. Deck 5, the lowest and smallest deck, had the smallest surface area. The detachable warhead section contained twin torpedo magazines, which supplied the forward torpedo launcher. Toward the back housed the transporter transceiver and the anti-grav landing thruster bay, as well as the pulse phaser cannon and RCS thruster bay, all located on the catwalk. Ultimately, the Defiant was proposed by Starfleet Command to the Federation Council in 2367 as an escort or pocket destroyer vessel. It was the first pure warship designed by Starfleet in over a century, with minimal science and crew comfort facilities. The ship was equipped with various systems, including an impulse engine and warp drive. In addition, the cloaking device, along with the detachable warhead, provided the Defiant with a significant tactical advantage. So, what are your thoughts on the Defiant? Feel free to leave your comments below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.